Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Engine Builder Show. On today's episode, our topic will be how to use the right marketing message for your audience. And if this topic piques your interest, then sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody.
There was always a ton to learn. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I am glad to be here again. I always like doing these shows and episodes, and even though I'm a little bit tired today for some reason, I am still grateful to be here and appreciate you taking time to tune in. So today I want to talk to you about how to use the right marketing message for your audience, as Jethro said there. And I think this is something that early on in the entrepreneurial process, I know for me, I was so full of ideas and passion, and I knew, how I want to change the world and what I was going to do. That kind of phase of my entrepreneurial journey really focused on me more than on the people I wanted to serve. And so my messaging didn't always land. And I think that's really common when we get excited about an idea, or we know we want to go out and do something, that matters, and we want to make a big impact. It's easy to skip over a really important part of making an impact, and that's understanding the people that we're out there to impact and serve and help. And so to get your marketing messaging dialed in is not overly complicated. It's simple. It's not necessarily easy, as I often say, but it is simple. And so I just want to share with you a few of the things that we always do here for this type of project, and things that you can do that are really effective that will help you really understand what the right messaging is for your audience. And it's important to discover what that messaging is, because as humans, we in an instant, in a split second, we can absorb all the details of what's going on, and based on what we absorb and what we see, we make judgments. So if everything's in line and makes sense and the details add up, then we trust the person that's talking. We trust the messaging. We trust things that are are headed the right direction. But if something's off, or a few things don't feel right, then even if we don't consciously notice that, at least in our subconscious, we start to get uncomfortable, and we start to be more critical and figure out, that doesn't seem right, or I don't know why, but I'm not feeling comfortable right now. And that's when the details don't match, and when someone has not really been effective in creating, the marketing messaging that's really going to attract their ideal client. And so getting to know who you're serving is really key. And so one of the first things that we often do when we're building out the strategic marketing blueprints that we build out for our clients is we send out a survey to ideally past clients or existing clients, folks that have already bought from our client. And that way we can talk to people that have actually invested and spent money and really were customers of our client. And so in those surveys, we ask the customers, what challenges, were you facing? Why did you come to us? What results were you looking for? What results did you actually get? And it was a handful of questions around that, and then like any other feedback that you have for us. And the point of doing that survey is when we get those written answers back, we can see in their own words, in their exact own language, what the customers say about the service that our clients are offering. And that allows us to then, in our marketing and our advertising and all the messaging that we put out there, we can use the same words that the customers are using. We can use the same phrases. We can use the same kind of thought process as we're writing messaging, because our job as marketers is to really understand the mind of the prospect and speak their language. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to do a survey and just really reflect on all the responses and start to look for those patterns that we see in those responses. So often when we're an expert in something in an industry, or we've been doing it for years, there's industry language that we use, there's technical terms, there's things that make sense to us because we're the expert that's practicing that trade, or building those products, or in that field of expertise. We use language that's different than how people on the outside of it, or prospects that are coming to us, it's different than how they describe things. And so that's what's important for us to realize, is that when we are using expert language, so to speak, we're probably repelling our ideal prospect. Whereas if we start to learn and understand the language that the prospects and our ideal, customers are using, then we're able to really speak their language. They'll trust us more. It will make our marketing a lot more effective. So the first thing is surveying them and getting just to understand what their language patterns are. The second thing that's just as important is the more conversations you have with prospects in your market and with customers that have bought from you, and just have conversations. Ideally, ask their permission and record those calls so you can review them later and take notes as you're interviewing them, and just start to understand what their mindset is. Again, what problems they were trying to solve, what parts of the process they really liked in working with you and your team, or buying your products, or using your services. What parts they didn't like, and the more that you can deepen that relationship, the more that you're going to, again, be able to understand their mindset, what problems they were trying to solve, where they were coming from, and then that can be reflected in the messaging that you put out there, so that you can attract more of that ideal customer for yourself. And then the third thing that is also effective is getting into a Facebook, into multiple Facebook groups that are in your niche or your space, and just reading the conversations and comments that go on in there. Reading forums like Reddit is a great source because it's just a huge forum, and with multiple different sub forums, you can read what people are talking about in real estate, or in health, or in business and entrepreneurship, or sales. And just starting to really, again, see what language patterns they're using, what they're talking about as being their biggest problems, what they're trying to solve. The deeper you go in that research, the more effectively you can write a ad that's going to work, the better video you can create that's going to speak to their issues, the more that you can create copy and email marketing and all the messaging that's going to go out there that's really going to be relatable, and make sense to the person that you're trying to attract. And so the key really in anything when you're looking at making your messaging effective from a marketing standpoint is really get to know the audience, really spend the time and read what they're saying, interview them, survey them, make it your passion to truly understand where they're at in life, and what words they use to describe the challenges, their goals, their hopes, the things that they want to accomplish. And when you do that, you'll be able to really effectively speak their language and attract more of those ideal clients. And so that's a process that we go through with many of our clients, depending on what stage they're at in their marketing process. And it's something that is proven to be effective and just helps us in the long run. And so I wanted to share a little bit about how that works, and hopefully that's useful to you. As always, just one other thought is, like, our first guiding principle here at Business Marketing Engine is relationships first. And it's our first principle for a reason, because we believe that if we deepen our relationship with our clients, and if we can show you how to deepen your relationship with your customers, then you're going to be more successful. And so it all comes back to that. And so what we talked about today is really just going deeper there, and again, having those conversations, understanding what they're saying, really leaning into that relationship with your individual prospects and with your audience as a whole. And those are the things that are going to help you continue to grow and scale. So hope that's useful, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow.